Yo, what's up guys, it's Talon, and today we're going to be talking about one of the best team fighting top laners in Wild Rift, and just explaining how generally to team fight in top lane, kind of these types of things. So we have an additional top lane video, again, just because I was working throughout the weekend, so didn't really have time to play, so we just have top lane gameplay mostly to go over at the moment. And I haven't watched over this game, so I don't remember exactly what happened, but I do know there were some fights and whatnot, so we're kind of going to go through this, as I remember, like I'll be talking through it. Initially though, if we're looking at this, we do see that my jungler is pathing away from me, so I don't want to do anything too crazy. I'm still happy to take trades if I do notice, of course, that I can get easy trades, like as a Gnar. Generally, one of the main things that you want to understand is that you do want to get good poke. You see how I actually go inside of his Q there, so he doesn't damage me and doesn't get a stack, so I'm able to win that trade. And you do want to generally try to get a little bit of a lane lead early on as Gnar, so I want the lane slightly pushing into him so that I have the level advantage. And I just want to poke him out as he walks up for last hits and whatnot, but I don't want to overextend and trade too hard because I don't know yet where the jungler is, and I know that, of course, my jungler is not here. In this situation though, again, I know he used his first ability and he just doesn't have the range compared to me, so I'm able to get good poke on him. Really, really important as a range top laner to utilize your spacing and your, your range to get some type of lead early. Gnar's range is not as long as a lot of the other top laners, or range top laners rather, but it is still longer obviously than the average melee champion, or any melee champion, because he's a range champion. But again, you just kind of see me using my Mega Gnar to get a little bit of poke, or at least try to, and then just try to get some level of control over the wave, not doing too much again. And then here we do spot the enemy jungler, so now we know, like, okay, I can actually trade if he gives me an opportunity to, and so I end up trading a bit with him. Not too much, but just, again, trying to get a bit of poke on him. Main thing here is just a little bit of a health lead, a little bit of a poke advantage, and then get the wave crashing before he can crash mine. That way I can find the first recall, and again, I'm just trying to deny him a little bit of minions here, which we do successfully do, and we just play around that poke. So Gnar early game, again, we're going to be talking a lot about the team fighting and that kind of strength of him. Early on in the game, you're just trying to squeeze out small advantages from your range diff, and then ideally make some type of gank setup around your Mega Gnar when your jungler is here, which is why you want to try to time your Mega Gnar well with your jungler's pathing. So again, overall, not too much interesting going on here. Just trying to get some poke on him, trying to slowly build up a wave. And again, I haven't recalled yet, just because I'm pretty fine with the wave state. Like, there's nothing really bad with what's going on right now. And I believe at this point I will be pushing a little harder now, because I do want to start getting the control of the wave so that I can, again, crash the wave first. Here I get pulled in, and unfortunately I jump, and then my jump gets canceled. So it's pretty much the worst situation that could have happened there, because I lost my jump there, so I couldn't trade with him afterwards. So I should have just not used my jump and then waited. And then here you see I just used my ultimate for wave clear because I know I want to recall. And so pretty much all we did this lane, we just, when the enemy goes for last hit, we poke him. When he uses his abilities, we trade back. So like, he used his first ability on me, so then I kept trading, for example. And through that, we get a very small lead, a couple hundred gold maybe, a little bit of like XP lead, nothing crazy. And that's all we're trying to do, again, as a team fighting top laner, especially like tank top laners. Gnar, he is a good laner, but even when you're playing stuff like Ornn, like Malphite, like Mundo, these champions, they just all want to squeeze out those small advantages, not try to overforce, and then play around jungle, play around their team, and then play around those kind of key moments where you find the big engages, because you're going to see some big Gnar engages. Hopefully this game, low-key forgot what happens, but a lot of games you're able to find really game-changing ultimates with Gnar, and that's really what this champion does. Like, he is most definitely a team fighting top laner that wants to change the game in that regard. He can snowball off his own leads and carry, because mini Gnar does a lot of damage, but that's not typically the main purpose. So again, you're really just trying to eke out these small leads. You see, I just deny him another minion. I make sure that if he's going to walk up, he's going to take some damage. Like here, he walks up. What do? I get my 3, points of damage in on my W passive in order to proc it. If you don't know, the passive of your second ability is basically Vayne passive, except with abilities as well. So if you land an ability or you land anything, or an auto attack, you get 1 proc, up to 3 procs, and then does more damage on the 3rd proc. So again, we just use our ult for some poke. We're just getting this little bit of a lane lead, and then at this point, nothing too crazy going on. Just poking him out, getting the wave pushed, making sure we have control, have prio, that type of thing. We end up seeing the Master Yi mid, so we should know that he is topside, or about to go topside, once he's done fighting there. And then for some reason, Darius rotates on a wave here. So we're happy with this. We have the wave pushing, which means if Darius rotates like this, we just push the wave, we deny them gold, and we get a plate. So you can see, like, my teammates ping me, they're angry. Darius killed isn't valuable here. Like, this doesn't get him a gold advantage. He lost out on 100 gold worth of minions and 150 on a plate, and he lost XP for minions. So he's not, and like obviously he's getting poked out here, right? So he's not in a good spot. This wasn't a useful play from him. And then you're gonna see here is my mistake. We saw Teemo start hovering towards top side, and we saw the enemy jungler rotate, or we knew the enemy jungler would be top side rather, you know, because we talked about it before. And I still went up. So this is really where the first mistake comes in, where I go up a bit too far. When again, my jungler's on the opposite side. We saw Teemo missing mid lane. We saw him go towards the top side, and we knew that their jungler would go top side, and yet I overextended. Even though, again, if we look back at the wave when I'm overextending, it's actually going to come into me. There's 3 minions of his, only 2 of mine. So if I just chill here, even a little later, right, like, I'm fine. Even now, again, you see that wave, like, it was coming into me. So basically just a mistake there, overextending, and we do fall behind. So you're going to see, like, again, we're not in a good spot this game. We're behind in gold. They get our first tower topside due to that mistake, and our team is down over 1,000, almost 2,000 gold now at this point. Now, actually, just 2,000. So again, not a great start due to that mistake, due to the lack of jungle tracking. Very common thing. A lot of top laners mess up. It's a very easy thing to mess up, as you saw me do there. But then here, Master Yi makes a huge mistake. He ends up going to the objective, and then Darius rotates to the other side, and then their mid laner goes to the other side. So, I mean, even, like, we can say it's Master Yi's mistake, we can say it's anyone's mistake. Everyone just not being coordinated on the enemy team is really the problem there. So we're able to get the snipe onto the Master Yi. He walks into our boomerang, and then we get the Herald out of it. So the mistake comes from everyone. The jungler, when he notices his team is all not there, shouldn't go do this. The enemy Darius, when he sees his Master Yi going jungle to top side, he shouldn't go and rotate to dragon. The mid laner, same thing. Everyone on the enemy team, all 3 of those people, it's all of their fault, right? Like, people are always like, oh, it was this person's fault, this person's fault. And again, placing fault is not even important. From any individual perspective, those people could have done something differently. And notice here as well, I'm trying to not drop my Herald so that I can have it mid lane, so I try to just hit it and see if I can just sneak the turret for free. But that's when, again, like, there's different situations. There's situations where someone just messes up and it's their fault. Like me dying to that gank, for example. That was just completely my fault. No one else's, just mine, right? But that situation, there's 3 people who all could have made a different choice, which would have a better outcome, right? If Master Yi doesn't go there, or if Darius does go help him, any of these things are enough to change the outcome. And so people are always really concerned with finding the individual to blame. Most of the time, there's multiple people to blame, or multiple people who could have made a different action of which would lead to a better outcome. And that's something that I think is important. And I'm not saying I never focus on that, because, like, during this moment, when I died 3-man, I didn't say, oh yeah, that was my bad. What I said was like, oh, of course their jungle and mid are here, or whatever. Like, it's a lot of people do that. I do it frequently. I do it way more than I should. But that's just something I want to point out, because again, I do think, like, one of the main reasons I'm able to improve is not just because of me grinding the game. I mean, me playing it a bunch helps for sure. Obviously, it's easier to get better. But I think one of the main things that helps me get better is doing things like these videos where I just see my mistakes. Like, I don't have to necessarily notice my mistake right away during the game. It's fine to sometimes be a little delusional. The problem is when you're then still delusional after the game and that type of thing. But I do want to go back here and just talk a little bit about the team fighting. So this is kind of the first time we see us sort of team fighting. A very common thing you can do, you want to go into most fights with about 50 to 75% rage. That way, when you auto attack and get all your damage out and range for him, it ends up building up to your mega. And so you see here, I'm able to jump in, I'm able to do my damage, just get all my abilities off on everyone, pretty straightforward. And then I get my mega off of that, which allows me to second ability plus flash, then ult the Karma, and then Karma's perma CC'd, which is really what makes me such a good team fighting top laner. And then here again, we're able to get the stun on the Zeri afterwards, which causes her to have to flash as well, and it allows us to catch her out. So what makes you such a good team fighting top laner is your ability to CC so many people. Your second ability CC allows you to easily catch someone out. Your ultimate, if you jump onto someone and then ult them into a wall, into your team, whatever, you can then stun them with your second ability right after. You can hit a bunch of people with your ultimate. Super, super effective to hit 2, 3, 4 people and just completely change the tide of a game with that insane CC chain with your ultimate plus second ability. And your jump in, of course, allows you to get that engage off really, really nicely. And then your second ability flash combo also lets you set up stuff like I did on that Karma there. So I just wanted to kind of point out, you know, all of the forms of CC and engage you have as this champion. And if you're playing it really well, again, you're able to get a bunch of damage off at the start of the fight And then later on in the fight, when the fight develops, when the enemy use their dashes, their flashes, whatever, you're then able to find that key engage. So that's what makes Gnar so good. But it's more inconsistent because, of course, you have two forms, and if you don't have your Mega Gnar up, you're not an engaged champion. And so if you end up messing up your timing of your Mega Gnar or something like that, or you charge it too quickly, too slowly, you can mess up very, very badly and then just be not useful at a fight. So it's really important. For example, there's times where 30 seconds before an objective, I don't farm a mid-wave that I would farm on any other champion because it'll get me Mega too early. Or sometimes I'm 45 seconds away from the dragon, and then I try to instantly get Mega Gnar because that way I know I'll have enough time to get Mega Gnar again. Because I know I do want to farm this wave. It's 45 seconds. I can't just not hit a wave for 45 seconds, but I do need to get Mega quick. So I'm going to, charge up on my teammate's Gromp or whatever it is. And so understanding this with the team fighting is really, really important. So even here, we're 45 seconds away from the or 40 seconds from the dragon. We want to make sure that we're getting Mega Gnar built up a little bit off of some of these things. So I want to get that wave, for example, but then I want to go get the mid wave, and you can see here now we're getting our, to the yellow. When you get the yellow, that's kind of, how you want the bar being. You want it yellow, and then we end up being in a good spot where now I can get my damage off here, and then I can hit Mega when I need to, which allows me to stun them. Now in this case, we just found a pick. I don't have to overextend yet, and then you can see what I'm looking for here is just a second ability flash combo, which we get. We ult 3 people, get 2 into the wall, and that's where that team fighting kind of power comes in, where we're just able to completely carry that fight, and we get out of Mega at the perfect time to get some damage off at the end, and just absolutely perfect engage there, which again, you're very often able to find these 2-3 man engages, these stuns, everything, especially when you have that flash up. And so we use that to then get the turret, and just generally we're in a good spot at this point. Usually for the build, by the way, I'll go defensive boots, Trinity, Cleaver, and then either Death Dance or Wit's End. Sometimes Sterix if they have no anti-shield, but usually Death Dance into AD, Wit's End into a bunch of AP. Then Twin Guard's usually the 4th item, and 5th items, whatever fits the game. If you need anti-heal, you can get a Chem Punk instead. I don't really like Mortal Reminder anymore, so I'd go for the Chem Punk. And then here, I don't remember exactly. I think we try to 1v1 this guy because we do know we can kill him if we find him. So I'm kind of looking to fight him just to see if I can find any type of pick. And again, you see how much damage I'm able to get with my range form before going Mega. So like that's really that's the very important thing you need to understand is just getting value out of that range form before going Mega. And then at this point now, we are able to out-rotate the Darius and find a flank because of the fact that we dominated him on side. So even though we didn't kill him, we got his flash out and we made him useless. So we're able to do some damage in this fight and get that double kill there. So at that point, again, it's even sort of the damage in the team fights. Sometimes you don't have to be the one making the engage. If your team does make the engage, or you're finding, yourself going into the fight later, you can just do things like get some damage off, especially if you're fed. At this point, I'm very, very fed. So if my team engages, for example, Rammus here, I'm just able to get a bunch of damage off, and I don't need to be Mega right away. And obviously, Mega at the end there, stun the Teemo as he walks in for some reason. And I mean, we're just obviously completely chilling at this point. Looking to stun the Master Yi next. I believe he ends up dashing onto us, so then we stun him afterwards. And yeah, pretty straightforward there. Able to end up getting the Baron with the team. And we're in a pretty good spot. So overall, kind of the main things again for this Gnar champion is just understanding that timing of your Mega Gnar. Understanding the early lane phases goal is just to eke out small advantages. If you, play around jungle, that type of thing as well. You're usually not going to, go ahead 10k gold in the lane. But obviously each game is unique. Sometimes you do just stomp the lane. I'm happy with Gnar because I like kind of picking him blind. He's good into most champions, good in most matchups. I don't really have a lot of bad matchups for him. And best is hard because best is broken. A couple other matchups, Rumble's kind of difficult, but fine. Stuff like Yasuo, Aurelia can be a little hard for sure, but nothing that you can't beat. Like you're a champion that even if you're in a matchup that's bad, you're usually able to, again, get value in team fights, and you can lane decently well. And so once again here, we're looking to see if I can jump out after he uses his dash, or his third ability rather, but then we don't end up needing to, and we're just able to stun the Karma. So you can find those huge team fight ults, but you can also find the really easy picks on an overextended member like that Karma there. Just getting any level of value out of your Mega Gnar, because you use the Mega ult every time you have it. Like, you're not going to charge up Mega again quick enough to the point that you shouldn't just use the ultimate basically every time. Early games, sometimes you could charge it quick enough, but it's very rare. So you pretty much just want to get some value out of it, even if it's a random solo ultimate on someone. And if you're able to find a pick like that, it's going to be very useful. And now we're just using our Baron to just kind of choke the enemy out. It's pretty easy here, not too much complicated going on. We end up chasing down the Master Yi a bit because we don't like Master Yi's. That champ is cringe. And then I think I try to stun. Yeah, we stun the Teemo. I don't know if we actually kill him. Not quite, but we do get his flash out, which is good enough. Take some unnecessary turret damage because I'm just like that. And yeah, we're getting our tank items. Everything's pretty straightforward. Nothing too complicated with this champion. If you like those champs that just you go into a team fight and you know your job, like your job is get some damage off early and then jump in and ult people, it's a good champion. It's very simple, very easy to learn. Early game or early on, learning the champion is a bit weird just because of his range. Like he has a really unique range. Like not many champions have this auto range, so it just feels weird initially compared to playing most other champions. The spacing and everything is odd, but once you get used to it, you're gonna feel very comfortable. And again, you can always have that impact in team fights regardless of whether or not you play super well early on in the game. And then once again, we're just looking for some type of stun here. We get our jump off, and then we don't kill Lukarma because I decided, you know, just to let her live because I'm nice like that. And then we get another huge ultimate, which is a double kill. And at that point, I try to flash onto the Karma because I want the Penta, but I miss. And so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to dive their Nexus and hope that I can kill them. And I'm not going to succeed. Spoiler alert. Sorry for spoiling that, my bad. But yeah, we don't kill them. We just kind of sit here and stare at them menacingly as a Gnar with a Lulu. But I do attack very fast, which is cool. I like attacking fast. And then right as I'm about to die, I get Mega. Somehow, I think. Yeah, I do. And then I ult him, and then boom, boom, boom. And we win the game. So overall, I just wanted to make a little video on Gnar, show you guys one of the best team fighting top laners, and a champion I play a lot. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.